Hello, everyone. Today is Saturday, August 16th, 2025 at 11:43 a.m. in the morning. It was just 11:42. Excuse me for yawning. They always make me do this. Excuse me. Not every time, but excuse me. I don't know why they manipulate for me to yawn at the beginning of my YouTube videos when I'm in a hotel room or a place to live. You know, when I'm out on the streets, that doesn't happen. But anyway, so last night I went to bed at what time was it? 12:35 a.m. in the morning. And it took a little while, not much, but for me to go to sleep. And then after that, I went to use the bathroom, and then when I came right back, um, it was like exactly 5 o'clock in the morning, and then I may have woke up in between then, like 6 or 7 something, but then the final wake up it was about 8:13 in the morning when I woke up. Excuse me. Well, it was 8:03, and then I kind of rested a bit, trying to get more sleep. Then it was 8:13, and I prepared to. I got ready and prepared to go downstairs for breakfast, and it was like, yeah, one of the better breakfasts. I really like this hotel. I really like it. It ain't the best in the world, but I really like it. Um, but they had a man, um, you know, seem like they make us go in this small little room to get our food and prepare our food and stuff. It's completely self-serve, and I'm glad they had hot oatmeal, eggs, sausage, and I didn't know about the sausage biscuits. I would have got one of those, maybe one or two of those, but I just got the egg, sausage, oatmeal, and I got me a chocolate muffin. And the chocolate muffin was a little bit dry. Excuse me. But it was all right. But and I had a little bottled water, and I had apple juice. It was way too sweet. And I also had a small little carton of whole milk. Excuse me. So, like, they had this female. It was a black younger female that excuse me, like if I was walking in back into the room to get items or whatever, or get condiments or utensils or whatever, she would walk out, and she kept giving me mean looks and walking around like she had an attitude or like she was in a bad mood, like she was mad or frustrated or something. And they had a couple of other people walking around seeming like they were angry or something, you know. But excuse me. And then I was almost done eating, and they had an elderly white man that I was in there by myself in the dining area, the seating area by myself, and excuse me, and he came and sat directly across from me. It looked like he was drinking some coffee or something. and then he was shaking his legs on purpose. And then when I looked at him and noticed him, he went back upstairs, and he was wearing a blue shirt, and I don't remember what color pants. Excuse me, but just why mess with and why mess with people for no reason at all? You know, the female, she was like giving me threatening looks, threatening, mean, vicious looks. You know, excuse me, you know, and then when I went into the elevator, I just saw someone, I didn't know it was that same man. And then guess what? He came back up, came in the elevator with me. If I would have known that, I wouldn't have opened the doors for him, or held the doors open for him. You know, but he came in the elevator at the exact same time that I did. Well, following right behind me. And guess what he had? Laundry. You know, so I told myself I was not gonna spend any money on food or order any food today. You know, I had the breakfast, excuse me, and then afterwards, you know, this was a little bit more upscale and better, you know, that they had like for your oatmeal and stuff. You know, they had like raisins, coconut flakes, sunflower seeds, banana chips, granola, graham cracker flour, walnuts, stuff like that, you know, that you could put on your toppings. So that was a little bit higher scale. Excuse me. You know, and they had packets of instant grits and stuff. So I took like 2 Granny Smith apples and took a Greek yogurt. The regular yogurt I cannot eat, but the Greek yogurt seems a little tolerable, like the texture. Excuse me. So I got me some Greek yogurt. I seldom eat that, but I put it in the freezer. You know, I got me some Greek yogurt and 2 apples and a little bit of the sunflowers, just a little bit of the sunflower seeds and walnuts and banana chips and two packets of grits, and brought it upstairs. And I know it sounds like a lot of items, but it's not a lot of food at all, you know. Excuse me. And I brought it upstairs, and you know, and I'm gonna save it for quote unquote dinner. So for dinner, what I plan to have today or later on, you know, I'm planning to have the 2 Granny Smith apples and a little bit of banana chips and excuse me, banana chips, sunflower seeds, walnuts, the Greek yogurt, and whatever is left over from yesterday's super early dinner that I had yesterday. And I hope they have those cookies today. If not, then okay, it's fine. But I have the other 2 you know, ice cream bars today, you know, since I have to leave tomorrow. Excuse me. So that should, I hope that will be, I think that would be enough for me to, you know, eat today, you know. But I need to try to get it out of the way today to get laundry done. You know, I would like to do it today. Excuse me. Oh, but excuse me, yeah, so this morning, I put in the community post, um, the screenshots of the harassment from the online perps yesterday. Excuse me, and I also shared a video about another female that was that had been targeted and illegally swatted. You know, so when the stalkers brag and admit that they're going to send people to mess with you and do this and that to aggravate you or frustrate or annoy you, they brag about how they're going to send people to do XYZ to you. And then when you film and record, look what they're doing to me. And then they turn it around on you and say that you're the one that's going around messing with people. You stalkers are not victims and you're not innocent. You know, excuse me, I'm surprised that last night the Wi-Fi here was very fast. It was like much faster than the other hotel I was at, you know. Excuse me. So this is like one of the nicest hotels I've been lately. Excuse me. I was at a couple of other nice hotels, you know. But as I said, you know, a lady in the TI community treated me to 2 days to this hotel. I mean, she let me pick whatever hotel I wanted, you know. And I didn't know how much it cost. I just, you know, try to avoid having a hotel from this brand, you know, downtown because of me being wrongfully banned from so many hotels on Canal Street. Excuse me, you know. Well, I don't know if I'm still banned or if I'm eligible to be like a guest at some of the hotels, you know, downtown on Canal Street. But and I figured that it's on Canal Street, it would be more expensive, you know. But then again, I looked and I was surprised at how many downtown hotels could be under $100. You know. But yeah, but I would like to come here on my own, you know. I would like to come here again. I would like to come here again, you know. Excuse me. But yeah, I mean, I'm just sitting here like I don't even have these like hotels for luxury or for vacation or staycation or nothing. It's like I'm just surviving and fighting to survive, and you know, and the stalkers falsely accuse. They just make this false narrative that I'm living in luxury off and scamming people off of other people's hard-earned dime. Fake TI perps playing both sides and regular perps, because if you were truly targeted, they're making my nose itch. If you were truly targeted, you would know how much of a struggle it is. Like, where am I supposed to live? Because even fake TI perps playing both sides, they want me destroyed and dead too. You know, and someone told me yesterday that if anyone who's like rude to me and treating me mean and stuff and don't really have a reason, then those aren't TIs or those aren't real TIs. You know, excuse me, but they have people who claim to be targeted, but they seem so satanic. You claim to be a targeted individual and everything, and I see footage of you being gang stalked, but you got the same Masonic fake dyed red hair as other perp cult members, and nobody call you a hypocrite. You know. But if you could be wearing Masonic fake red hair, and then there's a perp in the background perping with the red shirt, you know, people don't say, well, you know, Charles, you're a hypocrite because look at you. You got your hair dyed red, and you talking about him in the background wearing a red shirt or driving a red car. Oh, look at you, you're a hypocrite. No, they don't call other TIs hypocrites. Excuse me. They have people that profess to be targeted and they wear red t-shirts in videos or drive red cars. And if they point out a perp wearing red, nobody called them a hypocrite. But because my twin sister led her cult to harass and attack me, if I wear a red hoodie that was given to me and I had nothing else to wear, and it probably was perp cult members that gave me the hoodie. Or, you know, they have people that if you don't have anything and they gift you with everything red. Red shoes, red suitcase, red this, red that, red clothes. That happened to me like in 2020 when I went to the, you know, what's that place? It was some kind of, it was like a food and clothing bank in somewhat downtown Pensacola. And excuse me, in the food and clothing bank in downtown Pensacola. And it's like everything they gave me was red. And I didn't think anything of it, and I was still like had more to learn with the TI community, you know. But I was wondering, did they give me all those red products or the red items by design, or was it on purpose, or what, you know? But I feel like this. I don't have an issue with a person wearing the color red as long as you're not doing it because you're gang stalking, and, you know, trying to provoke and antagonize. I try to give people, and I always have to hear narcissistic lectures about how I need to give people some grace. But where is anyone to give me any grace? You know, in 2021, I was giving hoodies, rain ponchos, and I think 2 of them were red and 1 of them was green. And also in 2021, or was it 2021 or 22? Someone from one of the downtown restaurants, excuse me, she gave me a red sleeping bag. I think that was her. And she gave me tried to give me red shoes and just like everything red. And I said, is red your favorite color? And then she got defensive and got an attitude and said, is red your favorite color? You know. Excuse me, but I was forced to have to stay with that red and gray sleeping bag in Pensacola, you know. So the stalking cult, because I called them out on perping with the red, they want to, because my twin sister, she perps with the red every opportunity. You know, go ahead and wear red, but as long as you're not perping with the red and getting paid and doing this because you know, to do psychological harm. You know, and you know, they have people that profess to be targeted, but nobody questions them or say that they're fake or playing both sides, and they wear red, you know, as much as the perps do, or ran the color red almost every day, you know. Excuse me, but people, perps know what they're doing if they illegally drive with a red car with one headlight out. That's like, well, no matter what the vehicle color car is. I mean, it could be a green car with one headlight. No matter what color car, one headlight, yeah, you're a gang stalker. But they try to set up scenarios to make the target look like a perp without the target realizing, or, you know, they really do have targets that sold out and is playing both sides. So the second, like with Lucky Cab in Pensacola, Florida, almost all their vehicles is perp vehicles. And Zeke Trip is heavy on gang stalking as well. And that Tracy Boyd person that was the manager or owner of Zeke Trip in Pensacola, Florida, black guy, and he straight up told me that he was not going to hire me to work for Zeke Trip because I'm homeless. He's like, yeah, because, oh, I'm not gonna, and he was a black dude. He's like, yeah, I'm not gonna hire you because he sat there and let me take the test. And I passed them, the exams. I was working 6 days a week with the temp service jobs, and then dedicating my time to spend extra time with going to the library and, you know, take those tests to qualify to be a taxi driver. And he ignored me for a couple of months, and then when I finally got a hold of him, he told me straight up that he's not gonna hire me because I'm homeless. And he's like, yeah, because you gonna be sleeping in the cars, and I don't want nobody sleeping in the cars or whatever. And it's not like you're gonna go to the hotel or motel every night. And I'm like, well, wow. I mean, all you had to do is, you know, if you hired me to work, just say, well, make a rule to tell me, you know, don't sleep in the car at night. Don't sleep in the cab at night. Excuse me, but don't you know that a lot of targeted or not, or perp or not, it seems like a lot of cab drivers are homeless unless they've been like a veteran cab driver for like over 20 years, you know, then they own their own homes and stuff. But a lot of cab drivers are actually homeless and living in cheap motels. They're homeless and living in cheap motels. Excuse me. So, but it's like, I've seen when I was homeless on the streets downtown, they would have cab drivers. I don't remember the taxi numbers, but cab drivers that would drive for Zeke Trip and sleep in a cab overnight, and they would sleep in a cab overnight downtown, and, you know, they would go fishing, you know, downtown Pensacola, Florida. And so, you know, it was a couple of them. But a lot of the times, the cab drivers that would be perps, and they would stay at the same extended stay or lower price hotels and motels that I would be staying at, you know. But excuse me. But yeah, even here in New Orleans, like, a lot of cab drivers are homeless and living in hotels and motels. And with Lucky Cab, they let me work for them, but then they kept putting me in perp vehicles, and then they used the directed energy weapons to sleep deprive me on purpose, completely and totally sleep deprive me on purpose, so I couldn't drive. And then they had a problem with me being a homeless and a cab driver, and yelling at me and telling me you can't have your belongings in the car and stuff like that. But excuse me, and they would have passengers that would be perps and try to screw over you and make up lies, try to get you wrongfully fired from the cab job, and or they work, even with being a taxi cab driver and being new and everything, even with the taxi cab driving, workplace mobbing exists. Even I've experienced workplace mobbing with even taxi cab driving jobs. So after a Lucky Cab, I'm not making, for the rest of my life, I'm not making any more attempts at trying to be a taxi cab driver. Never again. And the narcissistic stalking cult don't want me to be a cab driver, and they don't want me with a car, and they don't want me driving, because my twin sister and the fake foster mom said so. My twin sister get that from the abusive fake foster mom. Didn't want me driving or with a car, but they can illegally have the nicest freaking cars. Excuse me, So, but and I never got to experience what it was like to just have my car all by myself when I had it. Everybody just wanted to hijack and take advantage. Like, they had nicer cars than me, but always wanting to drive my car. But wouldn't let me drive theirs. Excuse me. I can't believe people like that exist. I could never really. The brief moment that I got to have my own car, I didn't get to do what I want and be comfortable in my own car. Everybody trying to be very controlling with my car, and they would go as far as to claim my car as their car, or just steal my keys to my car whenever they feel like it, and be gone for days or gone for hours and return it back whenever they feel like it, and do who knows what illegal shit in my car. So excuse me, but yeah, when I was driving for Lucky Cab, the person who trained me was a perp, and it's like and then the first day of me actually being by myself driving the cab and earning and working, they sleep deprived me so heavy. And but during the times when the sleep deprivation didn't kick in, the passengers were telling me that I did such a great job for it to be my first day, or for me to be new or whatever. Excuse me, And so I guess people would have said that I would have had the potential to be one of the best drivers, And they put me in a van, and I don't think it was was it a Dodge Caravan or was it a Chrysler van, something like that, and I drove the van, doing the cab drive work, and then later on, it wasn't until after it got dark that I realized the vehicle had one brake light. And then the next time they put me in a Cadillac, an older model. It was like a very raggedy, broke down Cadillac that they put me in to drive. And it wasn't until nighttime that I noticed it had like strange headlights. And then they kept sleep depriving me more aggressively as the days went by, to the point where I was forced to have to quit anyway. And it's like they kept giving me perp vehicles, and they had heavy police around me all the time. And I'm surprised and glad that I didn't get like pulled over or stopped or anything. So I turned the vehicle in. I was forced to have to quit the job. And then after the first day, they told me, well, I couldn't get on film. Excuse me, I couldn't film or record them saying this. But the person who issued me the vehicle, they let me know. They admitted to me that they were aware of one brake light on the vehicle. Well, why you give it to me to drive? So, cab drivers are worse than Uber with heavy gang stalking, you know. And nobody wanted me to be a cab driver. And in 2017, everybody was telling me I deserved to get killed as a cab driver, or I deserved to die, or they would try to spook and scare me, talking about how safe it is. I'm sorry, how unsafe it is and stuff like that, you know. But yeah, and even the years 2023, 4, and 5, you know, the taxi cab companies, even the ones that I formerly worked for, you know, it seems like when I have a taxi cab driving job, it seems like the most I can last is 4 days. And they give me the most broke down, raggediest, dirtiest freaking cars that they got. Broke down, raggedy, dirty cars that they illegally set me up in. Excuse me, or they'll give me a taxi cab car that they're making my nose itch. They would give me a taxi cab car with a flat tire. You know. They'll give me a car with a flat tire, and they'll leave me stranded on purpose, and nobody want to help me. And if I'm at a gas station, those Middle Eastern, Arab, Muslim, foreign people will be making jail threats and try to force me to get off their property now when I'm stranded with a flat tire. And, you know, me trying to put air in the tires or try to purchase something, get gas, and they will rush me off their property now and threaten me with jail. And then the other cab co-workers refuse to help me and ignore me, and the managers ignore my calls and refuse to help. Excuse me. Or they will put me up in a car that will you know, put me in a car that will have like check engine light, and or the car would be like violently shaking, you know. Excuse me, they make my nose itch. Excuse me, because they refused to fix the cab when I had possession of it, or they probably broke the cab up on purpose. And then after I'm forced to have to turn back the cab in, I end up sleeping like normal, or like how I should be sleeping, or sleeping like a baby like for the next 2 weeks, and end up seeing other people driving a cab with, they fix it up and have a new driver with no issues. They fix up the cab with no issues. Excuse me, and they want me to be with the raggediest cab and the raggediest car. And they blame me for the problems that they prepare the car in advance with problems and then give it to me. And I've had my share of, with one of the cab companies here in New Orleans metro area, of and I only was able to last like 4 days, and drive 2 out of the 4 days, and earn $80, but then have to spend half of it on gas, and the other $40 being used on like food or whatever. Excuse me. It was very, very hard, trying to be a cab driver, and then the dispatchers being abusive and narcissistic and yelling at you and make me cry, Excuse me. But yeah, but I tried like Z Trip in Pensacola. When I first got there, that was one of the first jobs I tried to get, and been fighting for years. Well, not years and years, but fighting for months and months and months, trying to get the Z Trip job. And that fake Tracy Boyd, he had already had some kind of prejudice against me. And recently, like the past couple of weeks, one of the Z Trip videos that I did about Z Trip drivers illegally gang stalking me, people have been making smart ass comments on that video. I think it was one of the higher videos, and it was from like 2022 or something like that. Excuse me, But they feel like, oh, you were new on the job. What make you think you deserve one of the better cars? But how come that abusive, narcissistic, fake, crusty, pert bus driver can be the newbie and get treated like a veteran, and he could be the newer bus driver? And then there was another female that they can be the newer bus drivers that can drive the nicer transit buses, the nicer and brand new transit buses, and be new drivers. Or they feel like, oh, because you're new, you don't get any special privileges. Excuse me, like when I was workplace mobbed and lied on and bullied working at a hospital in 2006 after Hurricane Katrina. The fake crusty perp Alice Baker was one of the managers, and she was the chief narcissist, and it was like doing janitorial job. It was cleaning up after Hurricane Katrina, and cleaning up that children's hospital in New Orleans. I don't remember where it was. It might have been uptown somewhere. But to do janitorial work with cleaning up, and there was someone who was Dominican, that from the Dominican Republic, that I went to school with, named Elizabeth Reyes. Well, she used to bully me and treat me mean. Well, she used to not really bully me, but she used to treat me mean at school. Excuse me. I went to Gretna Junior High and West Jeff with Elizabeth Reyes. And then she falsely rebranded herself as Lisa Reyes and make herself more fake narcissistic, And Lisa worked there, and she was also one of the people who lied on me. Excuse me, And so I was excluded and singled out and treated a certain way at work. And I think it was a temp service job through Kelly Services. And I didn't know that Kelly Services was one of the big gang stalking, workplace mobbing kind of places to to work at. And this was in 2006 after Hurricane Katrina, before I knew about gang stalking, workplace mobbing, or any of that, And so I excuse me. So I worked that job and doing janitorial. They called it housekeeping, but it was more like a janitorial job. And I had problems with standing on my feet for a long time, and and they wrongfully fired me the first day. Excuse me. And they lied on me and said that I told them that I have seizures. And they said, yeah, you shouldn't be working around kids. They didn't have any kids over there, because the hospital was all broken up and damaged from Hurricane Katrina. And so, and the fake, crusty, narcissistic, abusive Alice Baker perp, what she did was she tried to narcissistically lecture me and talk about, yeah, all the other workers said that you have seizures, and with that you shouldn't. And her and Elizabeth Reyes tried to talk about, you shouldn't work around children ever. And didn't you say you have seizures? I'm like, I didn't say I have seizures. It was one of the co-workers that asked me why I blinked my eyes and twitched so much, and I said I have Tourette's syndrome. Tourette's. Excuse me. And they lied on me and said that I have seizures or epilepsy, and then they try to talk about, oh, you should never work around children ever. And then they said, no children were there. We were all adults. They were we were doing janitorial cleaning up, or housekeeping janitorial, and then everybody else, they were like rebuilding and refixing the hospital back up. There were no children. The hospital wasn't in operation. It was not open, And then for me to work so many hours, and then later on ask for a lunch break or whatever. And then Miss Alice Baker, she's like, you don't get a break, and especially on the first day. Especially not on no first day. So like part of the workplace mobbing was certain jobs, even temp service jobs. They bully you, gang up on you, mob you, and try to intimidate and frighten you and make you feel scared, make you afraid that they're about to do some violent acts towards you. And they have bossy, narcissistic co-workers that think that they got the authority of the boss and the authority of the manager, and trying to tell you how to do your job wrong, and try to force you to do this and do that, and try to make you look stupid, and try to set you up to get fired, wrongfully fired, or they will sneak behind your back and tell a bunch of lies on you, or they will huddle together. Excuse me, they will huddle together and whisper and talk bad about you and be way younger than you, and exclude you from work activities or whatever, and or the fake managers that's part of it. If your work shift is like 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., they'll have everybody else eating like 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And when it come to me, I'm not allowed to take my lunch break until 4 or 5 o'clock. And then I'm the greediest one, Or they would let the guys eat at 11, 12 o'clock. If you're working from 6 a.m., 7 a.m. in the morning till like 4 p.m. And then let the guys at whatever job eat at 11 o'clock and eat for free, but then you have to pay, and then they get an attitude with you and send you away or run you off or bully you away, and then you're not allowed. I'm not allowed to come until, not allowed to eat until 2 o'clock. While and then they try to make it like I just came at the wrong time. But they let the guys eat. And then they would do like passive aggressive bullying and just petty stuff, and bossy coworkers screaming at you and younger than you. Some of them are actual teenagers. Like in Pensacola, Florida, they would have kids as young as 14 that could work. Here in New Orleans, you have to be 2 years older than that. They won't let you work at 14 in here in New Orleans, And I had my first job, I was 17. First job ever in my life, I was 17 years old. My senior year in high school. They kept delaying and refusing to hire me, and then they set up the stage for me to be workplace mobbed, and I was still a kid. Excuse me, and dealing with sexual harassment, being bullied, ganged up on. That Popeyes on Lafayette Street right next to Shoney's in Gretna, that was my first job ever. And I did my own personal boycott of Popeyes. I avoided eating from Popeyes, doing anything with Popeyes, for a long time. And I worked there for like under 4 months. It was almost 4 months. And that was the longest job I ever in my entire life got to have. Excuse me, So, I can't believe the online stalking cult that's trying to spread false narratives about my life. I'm telling y'all the true narrative. I'm telling y'all the narrative about my life. How can people who just knew about you for 4 or 5 months ago gonna tell you the narrative of your life? Like these internet stranger stalkers trying to think that they got the authority to dictate where I'm from. If you're from Gretna, you're from New Orleans. That's the New Orleans West Bank. Shucks, they have people who are from Slidell, or Mandeville, that can claim New Orleans as their home. Gretna is about as close as New Orleans as you could get. It's called the New Orleans West Bank. How come if you're from if you're from Gardena, California, you can claim LA as your hometown? And you can claim, oh, I'm from LA. Oh, I'm from Long Beach. Okay, Long Beach is LA County. So for the stalkers to be like, Candy is not from New Orleans, she is lying about being from New Orleans. It's just like a 5-minute drive from New Orleans to just get across the river, just cross the bridge and get off on the bridge and you're in Gretna. Just cross the river. So who are you internet strangers who've never set foot in New Orleans? Who are y'all to tell me what I am and where I'm from and what my heritage is? I know my history. I know me. You don't know shit. So for the stalkers to be like Candy they don't want me to be from New Orleans. I'm from here. So how would they believe my own twin sister if we grew up in the same household? If she say I'm from New Orleans, oh, they respect that. But for me to say, well, for her to say she's from New Orleans, oh, they respect that. Both of us have been out of state after Hurricane Katrina, but my twin sister never came back to live, But before 2012, 13, no, it was before the biological parents died. She was always making frequent trips to New Orleans and welcome around the family. But me, she had her own car to do so. But me, forbidden and not allowed to or be welcome around the family. They wanted me to be out of state and stay out of state and stay away. You know, that they're trying to force me out of New Orleans, my hometown. When I was in Pensacola, Florida, they try to force me out of Pensacola, Florida. Like, they want me to be up north where it's cold and uncomfortable. I hated the West Coast, and I hated people's way of communicating. And everywhere new that I go move to, they tell me straight up, you don't belong here, or what are you doing here? You're not, go back to where XYZ, where you came from. And then I come back to New Orleans, and they, even in-person perps acting like they don't believe I'm from here. Or people that's not from New Orleans that here and tell me, oh, I don't even think you're from here. Go back to, like, you're the one that's not from here. I'm the native. If it weren't for Hurricane Katrina, we were all displaced. I lived here all my childhood life. All my childhood life. Even going to college. And 22, just turned 22 years old. So I've been a New Orleans native for at least 22 years, and then bouncing around from state to state after that with certain circumstances, and not realizing a lot of this was part of the gang stalking, and also me, chasing careers and stuff, trying to chase Spanish careers after graduating, that led me to bounce around, But after finding out the truth about the Illuminati and the New World Order and stuff like that, I basically gave up on seeking Spanish career. And I have a degree, but cannot use it because people won't even give me a chance. And I went so long without any Spanish that I just gave it up and forgot about it. All these years of people blocking my opportunities, or telling me you can't do this, you can't do that, or shooting down my dreams, or trying to make it like as if my dreams are crazy and unrealistic, narcissistically lecture me about what's unrealistic goals and stuff, and the stalkers laugh about me having a bachelor's degree but can barely get a dishwashing job, So, but with my disability, and then dealing with pressure from other people, it's difficult too, but I couldn't be a hotel housekeeper because of the 2 strokes when I was 5, and I can't be around noise. But, if I would have the desire to want to be like a, front desk agent, or maybe a cashier at a grocery store or something, but, excuse me, but because of my hypersensitive ear problem, I can't be around noise. But, I've had a few cash handling job experiences before, and they would play psychological games with me. The managers would do stuff like, when I would count the money accurately after being done my job or my shift, and then next thing you know, this happened on more than one job, and then they will falsely accuse me of stealing money and have me panicking and shaking and spooked or whatever. And then I go and then a few minutes later, they play psych games and gaslight and secretly have, the missing $12.50 under the drawer. That I didn't do that. I put all the money together, but then they snuck behind my back and put the $12.50 under the drawer, and then turned around and maliciously falsely accused me of stealing $12.50, and then excuse me, and then they know how to make their fake anger and intimidation. They know how to make it look real. That narcissistic abusers, they know how to make their fake emotions appear real, and try to intimidate and spook and scare you, or cause you panic and you're freaking out, and not realizing that you're being gaslit and psychologically and mentally played with, Wait, hold up. Okay. But so, like, doing videos like this and saying what I just said, the stalkers will say stuff like, well, Candy admits to stealing on the job. They will lie and spread those malicious false rumors that, they will lie and say, this is proof that Candy's greedy. She admits to steal. Watch her admit that she steals from the job and stuff. And I didn't, She admits that she steals money from the job. That's not true. Never stole money at work. Ever. But that happened with the zoo job, the third party company with the zoo. That happened with the zoo job more than once, especially when I first started working there. And when I was working the temp service job with the Superdome and the Smoothie King Center with the basketball games. Oh, I can't even work those kinds of jobs no more. It was hard even then. So I can't work those kinds of jobs anymore. So, but I can't, like, the older I get, the hypersensitive ear problem gets worse. Like, I don't even know how I dealt with being forced to work 13-hour shifts with the Superdomes and the basketball, football games, and not allowed to use the bathroom, not allowed to eat, not allowed to take any breaks, and working 13 straight hours with no break. And then they try to cheat you out your checks. But or like I thought about, it happened with the Sky Zone job, and it happened with the Grand Canyon job, that the jobs that I apply for to work, they end up giving me a different position than what I applied for and what they hired me for. Like, they agree to hire me as, XYZ worker. And then, even with the interview, they say you're going to do this and you're going to do that. And then once my first day of work comes, then they switch it to, something that I didn't apply for, or something that I don't want to do. That's lower pay. And then to micromanage, control, and boss and bully you and drive you out of the job. Run you off. Excuse me. Everybody has a right to not take abuse. And they make like you're supposed to just sit there and let yourself be abused and don't fight back. But then if you, quote unquote, let yourself be abused and don't fight back, you don't even realize you got the power to fight back, and then they call you a fool or say you're stupid, and that you allowed yourself to have that happen to you and stuff, you know. So I didn't even premeditate to talk about workplace mobbing, but it's good that I'm talking about it. You know, I came on this video not knowing in advance what to talk about and just started rambling, you know, impromptu, I guess, right? But you know, and they have people who tell me that with my bachelor's degree alone, that they tell me you ought to be able to they say you ought to be able to earn at least $36,000 a year, have a job where you can earn at least $36,000 a year, you know. Excuse me. They tell me I ought to be able to earn at least $36,000 a year. But they make sure I don't even last a whole month at a job, or barely even 2 months. Or some jobs, I don't even get to last the whole first day of work. But on average, I end up lasting like less than 2 weeks at work before, you know, being workplace mobbed and bullied at work, you know. And then the stalkers try to make it like, oh, Candy quit her last job just because some guy gave her a look that she didn't like. They weren't there, you know. And then they try to talk about, oh, she talks bad about her coworkers. The coworkers be gang stalking. Yeah, I'ma fucking talk about y'all. I almost was gonna quit that second day of work. That Miss Phyllis lady at Piccadilly in Metairie, I did have an emotional breakdown and cry from her abuse. She herself is a very toxic woman. And that Raymond person, yeah, got the same name as my perp nephew. He was a perp with a narcissistic personality. And the same light-skinned guy, that young boy that freaking bullied me off the job, well, he was the final straw. But he bullied Mr. Raymond off the job, but Mr. Raymond himself was a perp, like exactly a week before. And Mr. Raymond was an elderly man, and he was like in his 60s, like 60, 61 years old. Excuse me. They call him Ray. And he would like the managers and bosses were younger than him, and they were always yelling at him. Well, if he never does his job right, well, why was he the one that y'all had to train me for the job? To train me on how to roll up the silverware. If he never does his job, or if he never does it right, why didn't y'all have someone, you know, better, you know? But that 27-year-old, no, I think he was 24, you know, 24, or no, he was 26 going on 27. And that young guy, his name is Krishan, the light-skinned guy, and he abusive and narcissistic and kind of effeminate, and he illegally works at the fake Walmart on Veterans in Metairie. Excuse me, he's been working there for a long time. You know, it seemed like over a year, because last time I was there, he was working over there. It was a couple of months ago when I went over there. You know, but I guess he must like it better over there than working at Piccadilly. But I'm sitting here wondering if that Piccadilly in Metairie a location with just a bunch of demons, and they only had a small amount of the workers that were not perps, you know, and they had a disabled Vietnamese female that she was considered handicapped or disabled, but she did her job so well and quiet, stayed to herself, worked hard and everything. And it was a female, a black female, I don't know if she was black or Creole, and she was one of the nicer ones, and she always had a smile on her face despite losing a family member. And she always smiled and worked hard and everything. And there were a couple of other people that were hard workers or whatever, and quiet and mind their own business or whatever. Excuse me, but they had a lot of the people who the perps always get more hours of work than the target, and they get more hours and higher pay and better positions. And they wanted that fake Masonic 33 for me to get like $11 an hour and only 30 hours a week and no more than that. And then and then a week after I started working at Piccadilly, I got wrongfully kicked out of and banned from In-Town Suites, which was like right across the little highway right there. Excuse me, And they had this a white boy named Evan, that was an abusive, narcissistic, fake, bossy perp, and a few other perp co-workers. They had that Chad guy that was trying to make sexual advances at me and stuff, yet flashing satanic hand signs. And he was very buddy and friendly with that fake Krishan boy, And Krishan was highly narcissistic and arrogant. And he was light-skinned with braids, but he was ugly. He wasn't even attractive. And he was extremely skinny and effeminate and walking on his tippy toes with and always narcissistically bragging about women kissing his ass and stuff like that, And he would never really do his job and always be on the phone, and he would always be complaining. But a lot of the workers would gang up on me and bully me. Excuse me, if I'm in the back working quietly and working hard and stuff, and and then even some of the other workers were like, that is messed up, that why for years all the silverware rolling job people, they always sat down. But why is it when it comes to candy, they want to switch the rules around? They've been having to sit, the silverware roller people sitting down for over 30 years. So now why when Candy get the job, they want to make her start to stand up? The other co-workers were saying that's not fair. See, even the managers be in on the workplace mobbing and bullying. Miss Troy Lynn, the black lady that hired me, she was the only manager that did not workplace mob or bully me or treat me mean. I think maybe one time she was having a bad day and yelled at me, but other than that, that lady used to love me. But I don't know if because I'm not working there no more, because of the gang stalkers getting at whatever, I don't know if she changed her opinion about me, but that she used to love me. But not every worker there was a perp or participated in the workplace mobbing, But and they had a couple of other people that were working hard and quiet, stay to themselves, mind their own business, Excuse me, don't really talk to nobody, But every time it was time to eat, I got bullied and picked on. And didn't get to get my first paycheck until after the whole 3 weeks And after it's like um a day or two after I got wrongfully, no, it was 2 days after I got wrongfully arrested and thrown in jail. Um, was when I finally got that first paycheck. It was February. I started, I think, February 8th, and then February 24th, they succeeded at workplace mobbing me off the job. I originally was supposed to have quit on February 9th, but I was determined to fight. And they had another job opportunity that I would that's I was supposed to have gotten a job working at the car dealership. I think it was for Nissan. Excuse me. And while I had already been hired and was already started to work, and that's when that Nissan job opportunity came. But I probably could have been earning like $50,000 and $60,000 a year. But me being targeted, they probably would have bullied me out the first day. So that's why I'm just sticking with my writings. Nobody to but the stalkers try to discourage me from my writings. But I can start when I want, stop when I want, be my own boss, take my own bathroom breaks and food breaks whenever I want. You know, I have no manager. I'm my manager. I'm my owner. I'm my own boss. And nobody could take that away from me. So I love my writing, even though it can be challenging and hard sometimes with performance anxiety. Or trying to come up with some thoughts, But it's not easy, free flowing, you know. Um, but I love my writing. I mean, I love to do my writing. And I even question myself, how the hell I come up with these ideas? Like, excuse me, I'm going to expand on what I was writing last night. So I mean, it took me like 5 or 10 minutes to work on that one paragraph, and I was like, well, wow, how did I come up with the idea of red, white, and blue pie with apple pie, a pie with like apple pie, cherry pie, and blueberry pie, like all mixed into like one pie. And I don't even eat stuff like that. I even separately, I hate apple pie, I hate cherry pie, and I hate blueberry pie. But I like apples and cherries, and I had to learn over the years to like fresh blueberries. And I don't like maraschino cherries, but I like the fresh cherries. Um, you know, and I used to hate strawberries and blueberries, but now I like them if they're fresh, but I don't like glaze, like a strawberry blueberry glaze or nothing, or baked or cooked fruit or whatever. But when I was a kid, I used to hate regular apple pie, but McDonald's apple pie, I don't know why I used to like it. But I don't know. I heard that McDonald's doesn't have apple pie no more. But I would like probably do something like eat the the outside of the pie and like throw away the filling. You know. Excuse me. But yeah, I don't like apple pie. Excuse me, and I don't like cherry pie. I don't like strawberry pie. I hate strawberry shortcake. I hate whipped cream. And it's seeing like, why do people want to put sour cream and whipped cream in every damn thing? But I didn't realize that sour cream is baked inside of a pound cake or something. I would like that. But sour cream on top of like a burrito, no, just disgusting. You know. Excuse me. Or I didn't even realize peanut butter pie that I love I didn't realize it was made with freaking whipped cream. Yuck. But if I had my own way to make peanut butter pie from scratch, I would do that without whipped cream. You know, I would rather use cream cheese than whipped cream, you know. People like want to put whipped cream on. I don't know if it's an American thing. They want to put nasty, fake, yucky whipped cream on every doggone dessert, you know. Like, and I'm watching these videos about if someone might do like a chocolate cheesecake, excuse me, and I'm looking, and then they put garnish it with whipped cream on top. Like, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, damn, you ruined it. You know, like you just ruined the freaking whipped cream. I mean, you ruined it. Something so delicious and so good, you just ruined it with the whipped cream. Oh, excuse me, you know. But I don't have to eat it, you know. But but yeah, if it was, you know, they're making my nose itch. Excuse me. But yeah. Um but don't you know, yesterday was August 15th, and I just reached the $50 mark on the YouTube AdSense, when I probably should have more than that, because I haven't been able to haven't been allowed to live stream by the illegal criminal fake perps. So I've been just doing regular videos, you know. Excuse me. So I have other stuff on my mind, but I didn't want to go on for like 3 hours today, you know, because I know people got things to do, places to go, whatever, you know, even though it's the weekend. Excuse me, I tried to take a nap even after breakfast and I just couldn't, but maybe I'll try again. But but I have more things that I would like to talk about, but I'll just, you know, talk to y'all more tonight. Um, so I'm still tired. I'm surprised I talked this long. Excuse me, but I don't know what I'll end up doing tomorrow. I don't know if it's gonna rain tomorrow, but I'm hearing more and more about this fake ass Hurricane Erin, Erin, Hurricane Erin, you know, and she you know, 100. They say she's a Category 5. I got an alert on my phone this morning. Excuse me. They said she was a Category 5 storm, 150 miles per hour, and they say she's like harassing the Caribbean right now. You know. Excuse me. I'm gonna pray for those people and pray for all of us. You know. And so yeah. I mean, today I'm not making any promises for myself today, but if not today, then maybe tomorrow I can do laundry either today or tomorrow. And that would be the only money to be spent. Um, but I'm gonna, after I get off here, I'm gonna try to see if I can take a nap. But if not, I'm gonna try to work on the novel, and I do have some more short story ideas that came to my mind while I was taking my shower last night. But excuse me, I want to work on the novel and see how much I could get accomplished today. And listen to the Bible today, you know. But as I said, it's an iffy. I don't know if it'll be today or tomorrow for me to do laundry, but I hope to get it done before I leave tomorrow, you know. And it looks like I'm gonna have to be back on the streets tomorrow. And but I'll talk to y'all before bed tonight. So I'll see y'all later. I love y'all.